Hawks Lays an Egg by Butterfly Apocalypse on AO3. Episode 18. Chapter 8. Omelette was cracked. Hawks' world narrowed down to a singular point, the long-inch fracture in Omelette's shell. When had this happened? Had he carelessly knocked against him too hard? Carefully, Hawks set Omelette down, trying his best not to widen the wound. He was a number 2 hero. He could fix this. He'd seen videos on entire egg babies being hatched in cups. Preterm babies could be kept in an ICU. He was pretty sure Omelette would survive a little crack. If it really came to it, Hawks was sure he could find a surgeon to fix Omelette up. After all, they did surgery on a grape. He's got an idea. As quickly as he could, Hawks rummaged around the medicine cabinet until he came up with what he was looking for. He unwrapped the hero-themed Band-Aid. That was pleased to see it was one of Endeavor's ones, and carefully placed the Band-Aid over the crack. There we go, Omelette. Good as new, huh? He forced all the confidence he could into his voice. Wow, he was such a good liar. He would kick ass in a game of BS. I'm sure you'll be perfectly fine. He immediately began Googling the DAVA surgical system. He found it could, indeed, do surgery on an egg. Further research on cracked eggs revealed that while cracks did pose a threat to the baby, it wasn't a death sentence. All he had to do was make sure the crack didn't get infected. Hawks could get disinfectants. He could do that. It wasn't like there was a goddamn global pandemic limiting the access to such materials. He was just lucky like that. Several farmers' forums were full of plenty advice on how to seal up the crack, ranging from nail polish to wax to superglue. Endeavor Band-Aids weren't suggested anywhere, unfortunately. Okay, disinfected. Hawks found some antibiotic gel in his medicine cabinet. He pursed his lips unhappily when he realized this was the antibiotical gel he had been using to dress Dabi's sutures. Jesus, he needed to get a grip. If he kept this up, he would look at fried chicken and be sad because it was the food Dabi used to bring to him. Hawks refused to be a sentimental ex. Kindly ignore the fact that most items of clothing Dabi had worn at some point had made their home in Hawks's bed. That was his own business. All right, Omelette, let's get your boo-boo cleaned up. Hawks dropped the tube of gel in shock. The crack had expanded, extending beyond the Band-Aid an inch or so on either side. This was bad. The crack was growing. He quickly sneezed just about the entire tube of antibiotics out and rubbed it lightly onto the egg. No bacteria were going to touch his baby. As he was applying just the right amount, not too much antibiotic, Omelette gave a shudder, and the crack grew more. No, baby, don't move. You're going to make the crack worse. Hawks clucked. Don't want you hatching early now, do we? Wait. Hatching. Hawks had no idea how long Omelette was supposed to incubate. What if he was just hatching? Oh my God! Hawks shrieked. You're hatching! Omelette! You're hatching! Hawks' wings puffed out on their own volition. He ran his hands, still covered in gel, through his hair, causing it to slick up. Omelette is hatching! Omelette was hatching. This was bad. No, this was good. Bad good? Good bad? Regardless, it was happening. I'm not ready, Hawks wailed. Can you hang out for a couple more days, bud? Just stop kicking or punching or whatever you're doing. Before now, he considered himself to be entirely prepared for Omelette hatching at any time. Now, though, there were probably 1,000 things running through his head that weren't ready. He was sitting on the bed, rocking back and forth, muttering, egg, under his breath. This wasn't helping. Omelette was hatching, and he needed to prepare. What did babies need? Babies weren't like eggs. They needed food and diaper and emotional support. Why did they give high schoolers eggs in health class? That wouldn't prepare them at all. He'd been taking care of an egg for the better part of 3 months, and he had no idea how to take care of a baby. The learning curve was too steep, and he was going to have to figure it out soon. Chickens hatched within 24 hours of popping. By this time tomorrow, Hawks was going to have a baby. Panic rose in his chest. Rumi wouldn't have her phone on her, and he no longer had Dabi's number. He was on his own. Remember when Dabi thought he was never going to listen to Total Eclipse of the Heart ever again? Well, it turns out, Bonnie Tyler really went off with the lyrics. There really wasn't nothing Dabi could say. It was a total eclipse of the heart. The synced interludes and the thundering percussion blasting through his, well, Hawks's AirPods. Hawks had very kindly let him borrow them, as in, he hadn't noticed Dabi stealing them, and that counted as him letting him borrow them. His Spotify Wrapped was going to be so wrecked because of this. It was all going to be Bonnie Tyler. Because you know what? Holding out for a hero slapped too. It reminded him of Shrek 2, and Dabi did need a hero. His hero. Hawks. No, wait. Undo. Backspace. Dabi could forgive himself for the 80s music. He could forgive himself for the pensive moping, because that was nearly indistinguishable from just being cool and aloof. He could even forgive himself for 1 to 7 listens of Taylor Swift's Teardrop on My Guitar, on account of it being an old Taylor, who couldn't come to the phone anymore, R.I.P., old Taylor, song, and the fact that it was about liking someone who likes someone else, not being dumped by the only person you ever liked. So it wasn't applicable to his situation, so it didn't count. However, Dabi refused to be pining after Hawks. Hawks made it perfectly clear how he felt about him, or rather how he didn't feel about him. Dabi had been stupid to get attached. He had known he was going to lose it all, because he just wasn't meant to be happy. Maybe it was for the better, though. The idea of him being a dad was laughable. The entire thing had just been a delusion, a distraction. It had been fun playing house, but that was over now. Rip them rose-colored glasses. Welcome back to the real world, Dabi. Welcome back to reality, where everyone hates you. You hate everyone, and killing Endeavor is the goal that gets you up in the morning and puts you at bed at night. Well, bed, whatever squishy place he found to lay on. Dabi briefly considered sneaking back into Hawks' apartment and stealing his entire mattress. Tempting. He added it to his villain agenda. Maybe he would steal Hawks' fridge while he was at it. No real reason. It just seemed like the perfect asshole thing to do. Dabi sighed and pulled out a cigarette. He hadn't smoked in a while. Now that he thought about it, he stopped around the time he started meeting with Hawks. A graph of relationship of cigarettes smoked versus hours spent with Hawks would have a negative correlation. The closeted math nerd in Dabi provided. Correlation didn't mean cause. But damn, when Dabi thought about it, it made sense. His smoking habit had always been just that, a habit. Most drugs never really did it for him, because life wouldn't allow him that luxury either. But nobody bothered him while he smoked, and he'd grown to like the burning sensation in his lungs. It was comfortable, familiar. At some point, he supposed, Hawks had become his new fix. Dabi chuckled. The cigars were probably cheaper in the long run anyways. He lifted a burning finger to light the cigarette when something flew through the dark of the evening and stuck on the side of the roof he was sitting on. Upon further investigation, he realized it was a knife with a letter attached. He groaned and unfolded it. Dearest Dabi, I hope this letter finds you well. Toga informed me that you were not answering your cell. Please check it at the soonest possible convenience and answer promptly. Sincerely, Kirigiri, League of Villains. Dabi snorted at Kirigiri's formality. He glanced over the side of the roof. From the sidewalk, Toga waved back at him. He chucked her knife back at her, not really caring to be acute. He could hear the clattering as it hit the asphalt, and Toga's shriek of protest. She flipped him off, and he sent one right back at her. He did, however, pause Bonnie Tyler and checked his phone. From the stabby one. I have something that will cheer you up. Guess what it is? Guess. Dabi-kun, I know you're busy nursing your broken heart, but seriously. Okay, fine. I'll just tell you. Last chance to guess. Last chance to guess. Okay, fine. It's a mission. Just for you. I got permission to come throw a knife at you if you don't answer. So much for not being bothered while he was smoking. Even smoking on the roof, Toga found him. How did she find him? Could she, smell his blood? Was Dabi just not as good as hiding as he thought he was? To the stabby one. What the hell? From the stabby one. Do you want the mission or not? To the stabby one. I don't know, you tell me. From the stabby one. If you don't come down, I'm gonna tell Kirigiri you were smoking again. Dabi groaned. He was a hardened criminal. The misty dad man didn't scare him. Unrelated, he extinguished his cigarette and made his way to the ground, and obediently followed Toga back to the bar. You should text Hawks, Toga commented birthly. Aren't you, not supposed to text your ex? Dabi snorted. She shrugged. I mean, yeah, but you've been super irritating and boring and pathetic since he dumped you. So you should see if he's willing to take you back as a personal chef or something. Gee, thanks for the advice. Dabi rolled his eyes. Spinner thinks you should take up yoga, said Toga. He said it got him through plenty of breakups. Dabi paused. Spinner dates? Apparently so. Toga seemed to be suppressing giggles. Dabi tried to imagine the type of person Spinner would date, but only came up with stain and drag. Do you think... began Toga. He's into roleplay? Like stain roleplay. Shut up, I don't want to think about that. Dabi weaseled. You've been a naughty hero, accepting money for your work, Toga said in an exaggerated deep voice. Toga gasped. Stain wouldn't even need to use handcuffs or anything for bondage. He could just drink your blood. No! Dabi groaned, grinding the heels of his palm into his eyes. Stop! Toga looked pensive. Actually, that'd kinda be hot. Dabi slapped his hands over his ears. I refuse to hear this. He refused to hear it, and he refused to think about the fact that Stain's quirk did have kinky applications, and he refused to think of that as hot. Fine. Toga giggled. But yeah, Spinner wants us to have a 10-minute yoga session at the end of meetings. Dabi tried to imagine Kirigiri during yoga in his normal suit. He snorted. Imagine Kirigiri in yoga pants. Toga's eyes took on a haunted look. I don't have to. Oh. Yeah, Toga said. Jezeristic night. You lucky you missed it. Shigaraki-kun should consider wearing leg warmers more, though. Toga, when you joined the league, Dabi started. Did you ever think this is how it would turn out? Toga cocked her head. What, seeing Shigaraki-kun hit the whoa with his extra hands? He did what? Yoga Pants Kirigiri might have been worth seeing that. She ignored him. Poor Stainy, he probably can't even hit the woe in Tartarus. I think he would want us, as disciples, to hit the woe in his honor. Hey, do you think the rest of the league would be willing to learn the renegade? There's a video I want to make. I don't think Stain cares whether or not we hit the woe in his honor. Dabi comments fell on deaf ears. Toga was on a roll. Maybe if there was a villain renegade, the pro heroes would duet us. Toga clapped, clearly delighted by her own idea. Dabi understood each of her words, individually, but put together, he felt kind of lost. Maybe pro heroes dancing for attention is the type of thing Staney wouldn't like, but we could use that to weed out the fake heroes. If they duet us, then we can kill them. Dabi didn't know what she was talking about, but he knew one thing for sure. I hope Endeavor duets us then. So we can kill him? Toga cheered. So we can kill him. Dabi agreed. Dabi-kun, Toga said after a moment. Dabi just grunted in acknowledgement. Does Hawks-kun have a TikTok? She asked. Is that a euphemism or something? What the hell was a TikTok? I see, she said. Never mind. Okay, well, the egg is hatching. I really hope that Dabi's there for that. If not, that's sad. That's sad. I really want them to make up. I'm like, please, I need them to, like, kiss and make up. You know, like, we used to be crazy. Sorry, I have songs running in my head, but, like, I want them to make up. Like, just smooch out and make up. Like, please. Also, I need to look at the comments. I have not been looking at the comments for a short, like, amount of time. For, like, a while, I just have not looked at the comments. I was always under the, the habit of waking up and then immediately checking my comments and my analytics. Lately, I've been waking up and not doing that. In fact, I haven't checked my analytics in a while, which is weird, but also kind of relieving because I'm not, like, worried about, like, oh, am I making enough, like, views? Is my videos reaching a certain quota? Are they doing this? Are they doing that? It's weirdly relaxing just having to exist. It's weird. It's weird. I like it. But I want them to make up already. Like, kiss and make up. Stop being little bitches and hoes. Anyways, as always, my raindrops, make sure to eat, sleep, drink water, take your meds. Have a wonderful day or night. Link to my Discord server and socials are down in the description. Subscribe to see more of my content, and thank you so much for watching.